Christians of all stripes condemn abortion. This strikes me as odd. Most Christian denominations hold that children under a certain age, the age of accountability, will not be accountable for sins. Thus, all aborted fetuses would surely go straight to heaven. But if some of them grew up to be atheists, as statistics suggest would surely be the case, they would be damned. So from a purely saving souls perspective, they should want all babies aborted. But logic and pragmatism aside, they clearly don't even know their own Bible. Numbers 5 gives detailed instructions on how an abortion is to be performed. It's a Mosaic Law, and it involves God's own assistance. The ritual requires a woman suspected of infidelity to drink a special magic potion prepared by the priest. Many translations say this potion will cause the woman's thigh to rot, wither, or fall away, and her body, belly, abdomen, or stomach to swell, while other translations say it will make her uterus drop and womb discharge, or her womb or genitals to shrivel. But some translations seem to better clarify the meaning of those phrases in context of the situation in question. The Common English Bible says specifically that the potion will make the woman miscarry, but the ERV spells it out very clearly. This ritual is without a doubt an abortion. Now, if you've seen Holy Crap 54, you know that I don't think the Bible is reliable. But believers do, and their understanding of that book influences their attitudes and behavior. So I'm compelled to address what's in our modern translations, no matter the book's dubious origins. Please bear with me as I read this. It gets repetitive, but the repetition itself solidifies the intention of the author. When he says the same thing 3 times, you can be sure he means it. And as a quick side note, I did consider skipping a few of the tediously repetitive verses in order to spare you some boredom, but I know that would just prompt accusations that I took something out of context. So don't blame me, I didn't write it. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites this, a man's wife might be unfaithful to him. She might have sexual relations with another man and hide this from her husband. And there might not be anyone to tell him that his wife committed this sin. Her husband might never know about the wrong thing she did, and she might not tell her husband about her sin. But the husband might begin to think that his wife sinned against him, whether she has or not. He might become jealous. He might begin to believe that she is not pure and true to him. If that happens, he must take his wife to the priest. The husband must also take an offering of 8 cups of barley flour. He must not pour oil or incense on the barley flour. This barley flour is a grain offering to the Lord that is given because the husband is jealous. This offering will show that he thinks his wife has been unfaithful to him. The priest will take the woman before the Lord and make her stand there. Then he will take some special water and put it in a clay jar. He will put some dirt from the floor of the holy tent into the water. He will force the woman to stand before the Lord, then he will loosen her hair and put the grain offering in her hand. This is the barley flour that her husband gave because he was jealous. At the same time, he will hold the clay jar of special water. This is the special water that can bring trouble to the woman. Then the priest will make the woman promise to tell the truth and say to her, "If you have not slept with another man, and if you have not sinned against your husband while you were married to him, then this water that causes trouble will not hurt you. But if you have sinned against your husband, if you had sexual relations with a man who was not your husband, then you are not pure. If that is true, you will have much trouble when you drink this special water. You will not be able to have any children. And if you are pregnant now, your baby will die. And the Lord will cause your people to speak evil of you and curse you." Then the priest must tell the woman to take an oath. she must agree for the Lord to cause these things to happen to her if she lies. The priest must say, "You must drink this water that causes trouble. If you have sinned, you will not be able to have any children. Any baby you have will die before it's born." And the woman should say, "I agree to do as you say." The priest should write these warnings on a scroll, then he should wash the words off into the water. Then the woman must drink the water that brings trouble. This water will enter her, and if she is guilty, it will cause her much suffering. Then the priest will take the grain offering from her, the offering for jealousy, and raise it before the Lord. Then he will carry it to the altar. The priest will fill his hands with some of the grain and put it on the altar and let it burn there. After that, he will tell the woman to drink the water. If the woman has sinned against her husband, the water will bring her trouble. The water will go into her body and cause her much suffering. Any baby that is in her will die before it is born, and she will never be able to have children. All the people will turn against her. But if the woman has not sinned against her husband, and she is pure, the priest will say that she's not guilty. Then she will be normal and able to have children. So this is the law about jealousy. This is what you should do when a woman sins against her husband while she is married to him. Or if the man becomes jealous and thinks his wife has sinned against him. This is what the man should do. The priest must tell her to stand before the Lord. Then the priest will do all these things. This is the law. Now that sounds like a good stopping point. But I have to include this next verse because it's just the icing on the fruitcake. The husband will not be guilty of doing anything wrong, but the woman will suffer if she has sinned. So let's recap. If a man gets suspicious of his wife, whether she's guilty or not, and whether he has any evidence or not, she must drink a disgusting potion made from the dirt of the floor of the tent where all the animal sacrifices are performed. If she's guilty, and only God would know for sure, she will suffer greatly, and God himself will abort any baby she may be carrying. Oh, and she'll also be sterile for the remainder of her life. But that doesn't seem to be a long-term problem, since adultery is a stoning offense. She'd no doubt be executed in short order anyway. But if she's innocent, she only had to endure humiliation and risk disease from the putrid potion. But the jealous husband is blameless no matter what happens. If you're a Christian and you oppose abortion because you think it's against the will of God, you need to read your scriptures. And if you hold to the inerrancy of Scripture, yet still refuse to acknowledge that your God endorses abortion?
Error, 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 error.